Spoiler warning, this is not going to be a kind review. If you're looking for a review where I point out all the positives like I usually do, this is not it. You've been warned. What was the point? What was the fucking point? Let's get right the fuck into it. I always say this, but this time it's even more poignant to me. Salutations. This episode is a mess, and I'm not talking about spilled a glass of milk type of mess. I'm talking about you shit the bed and then you lit it on fire kind of mess. This is hands down one of the worst finales I've ever seen for RWBY. What had the potential to be superior to my second favorite volume, Volume 7, shot itself in the foot and then shot itself in the fucking throat for good measure. The finale episode brings down the entirety of the volume as a whole. Volume 8 actively suffers because of the last 23 minutes of it. Fuck off. Where is this warning for Clover's death when you brutally murdered a queer-coded man on screen in such a bullshit manner with zero visual indicators that it was gonna happen solely for shock value? Where was this when Pyrrha died? When Lionheart died? When Hazel died? When Vernal died? Too little, too fucking late. Salem's finally back. Glad she was destroyed, so she missed literally everything that happened and failed to be a major antagonist in this volume, the role of which apparently fell to Ironwood, who also failed at it. Why is it Winter who is fighting Ironwood? What was the point of hyping up Crow's revenge boner for Ironwood and Ironwood's insistence on Crow's capture and execution if they don't even meet this entire volume? Why have that be major character motivations if you don't plan on following through with that? Why have Crow deliver lines like this?
James will take the fall. I'll make sure of it.
And this?
I'm going straight up to the academy, and I am ending this.
And Ironwood having lines like this?
I had Crow in my hands, and I didn't do what needed to be done. I will not make that mistake again.
And this?
Search everywhere for them. Do not return to this office until you have Crow Bronwyn in custody.
If they don't even fucking meet in the entire volume.
Winter, do not blame me!
Why shouldn't she fucking blame you? You're the root cause of all the fucking problems in this volume. Your hand in the shit pie has been here since volume 4 at the least. You are directly responsible for the status of Mantle, and had the world's biggest temper tantrum behind Salem, and tried to murder millions of civilians in Mantle after shooting down their only method of escape, just so you can make a point. She absolutely should fucking blame you. Ironwood fighting with his weapon instead of 2 normal guns is fucking stupid because we know he's capable of fighting normally, as seen with his fight against Watts. Why is he lugging this stupid fucking gun around and trying to fight an agile opponent with it? Why is he swinging it like a bat? Stupid fucking writing decision. Why is this bitch so fucking suicidal? Why is she constantly trying to give herself up to the villains? Why is she willing to throw away her life so easily? She's not being selfless, she's being stupid. You have gone toe-to-toe with Cinder before, twice, and you handily beat the shit out of her in your second encounter. Why are you suddenly no match for her? I don't believe that bullshit about her having to learn to adjust to being in a human body. She fights just as smoothly as she did before. It's not like she's a newborn kitten faunus who can't stand on her own 2 legs. There's no reason she should be nerfed this much against an opponent she's already beat. What was the fucking point of this line?
Looks like you're getting that fight after all.
If the very next episode he doesn't follow through on it and he wants to talk. Harriet continues to actively be the worst character, and Jesus, this episode made me hate her 10 times more. Why are you bitching at him to get out of the way while standing there instead of making him get out of the way? The same way you did with Vine just last episode. Why are you standing there whining like a petulant brat? How the fuck did they have time to pick free and pick up Elm? She was left back at the Atlas Academy hangar and she was tied up with her handcuffs. Do you expect me to believe that Vine convinced Robin to fly all the way back to pick her up and somehow managed to catch up to them when the airship had been flying the entire time? Fuck off. Why the fuck would you be so damn insistent on doing your job when your boss is already out of commission, your city is falling, and you're about to be out of that job? Why the fuck are you fighting so hard for this? You're not getting paid for this, dumbass. You're not going to have a job when your entire fucking kingdom is coming to an end and you're actively trying to genocide millions in Mantle. Are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding me? After everything, after every fucking thing, after every piece of shit action that piece of shit Harriet took, all it took to snap her out of forcibly committing genocide is calling her a friend? You're using friend no jutsu on her? Seriously? Fuck off. Why the fuck are you just standing there and holding your hand out with the bomb when the bomb is sliding slowly out the open door? Why doesn't Elm use her superior strength or Harriet use her super speed and considerable strength to push this bomb back into the airship? Harriet doesn't get to feel bad or switch sides. She's the reason all of this is happening in the first fucking place. It's up to a dead man that the show has been slandering the entire season and painting him in a negative light to save everyone. Even in death, Clover can't rest. Why should he even bother when the narrative has been shit-talking him all volume long? Neo kicks the shit out of RWBY with a single kick. The entire previous episode, she hadn't landed a single hit on RWBY and had just been evading her attacks. Why is RWBY's aura threatening to break after one kick? Why the fuck is Weiss announcing her arrival to Neo instead of just sneak attacking her? Why is Cinder just watching Neo get knocked into the portal instead of fighting Penny and Blake? What the fuck are Penny and Blake doing to allow Cinder such precious time to just stand there in the middle of a fight and watch another fight going on? Cinder using a firebending move for once was nice. So Cinder can announce her attack with a yell, but Blake, master of reaction time, can't react fast enough to leave a shadow copy behind? She couldn't dodge to the side? Has she even used her semblance a single time in this fight? Why the fuck did Weiss push RWBY out of the way and then just stand there? The explosion didn't go off for another 3 seconds after RWBY's out of the way, and Weiss just stands there right on top of an attack she clearly sees coming, because she knew enough to ensure RWBY didn't get hurt. Why is Weiss acting stupid? Where's her self-preservation instinct? She had her aura broken for literally nothing. Neo finally gets 2 hits on RWBY, so good for her. It's too fucking little, too fucking late for your crocodile tears, Harriet. You should be fine with killing you all, since you were 100% fine with killing millions of people in Mantle. Turnabout's fair fucking play. No. 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 Are you fucking kidding me? The character willing to do millions upon millions of people is rescued and allowed to live another day while someone else loses their life to pay for her fucking mistake? Elm doesn't even get to properly mourn her teammate because Harriet once again steals the spotlight and has more crocodile tears about Vine's death that is 100,000% her fault. She should have been the one to die. She should have tried to redeem herself with that stupid redemption equals death trope. She should have faced consequences for the actions she's been taking all volume long. She's been nothing but a fucking asshole, determined to talk down to everyone and literally genocide millions, but she gets to go home and Elm doesn't get to mourn and Vine gets to die for Harriet's mistake. Absolutely fucking pathetic. Is Vine really that stupid? Why the fuck would he encapsulate himself inside that bubble with the bomb? Didn't he think to wrap the bubble around the bomb from the outside with him not inside? He easily could have done that. He sacrificed himself for nothing because the writers wanted characters to die in the finale, and it doesn't matter that Vine isn't an important character who hasn't done a damn thing all volume long or had any influence on the plot whatsoever. But if someone dies, that means it's a great finale, right? Give me a fucking break. This was so fucking bad. Cinder finally learned her lesson. She learned just a few episodes ago the importance of learning from your mistakes. It's been 8 fucking volumes and the main antagonist was finally learning from her mistakes. She was proving to be competent again in a way she hasn't been since volume 3. That was 5 fucking volumes ago, over half the fucking series past. She's learned the potent and helpful power of friendship and applied it to the villains. She was poised to become a clever, conniving, competent antagonist again. And then they have her betray Neo and undo literally all that characterization in the span of 1 episode. Just 1 episode ago, she had been shown to actively been using what she learned to further her plans, and now she's back to her same old stupid fucking ways where she cheats and betrays everyone and has no allies and is selfish and, worst of all, short-sighted. I know she has only 1 eye, but that's no fucking excuse. I'm saying this as a Cinder stan. They had been doing her development so well, so fucking well, all volume long, and then right at the very end, they undid it. They actually had her regress to further the plot. The sheer incompetency of it all is staggering. Why would you undo the character development your main villain, who desperately needed it, had been undergoing? Why would you undercut your own writing choices in service of infinitely stupider ones? But the worst part is this isn't even the worst example of this in this episode, let alone the volume. In this same episode, we have something a million times worse occur. It's coming up soon. This is like the 3rd time RWBY has threatened to use her silver eyes, and each and every time she doesn't. Because plot. Weiss using Gamble Shroud was one of the only legitimately good moments in this episode. I love it when characters use each other's weapons, and we don't get enough of it in the show. The last time this happened was when RWBY used Penny's sword to defend Pyrrha against that huge Nevermore. Weiss dual wielding was excellent. Another excellent moment is when Cinder firebends using her mouth. Major Azula vibes. Why is John announcing his fucking presence to Cinder when he's nowhere near her and she has the time to react? And why doesn't Cinder just move out of the way while he's coming? Why the fuck did Penny land instead of gaining altitude and a clear line of sight? Why would she stay there where the flames divided her from her friends and also prevented her from seeing the fucking enemy when she had displayed the power of flight multiple times throughout the volume and in this fucking fight, only for her to land and stand in a perfect position for Cinder to spear her with her shadow hand? Because plot, because contrivances, because convenience.
My semblance!
No. There's not enough time to heal me.
How the fuck would Penny know how long it takes for Jean to heal someone? She's never seen him do it before, she has no idea how long it takes, and she's suddenly resigned to dying without even considering the option of living. Why? Because plot. Now she's actively advocating for her own suicide. This was the worst fucking direction they could have possibly taken. Penny's life and purpose had been key focal points of her character arc last volume and this volume. She had been proven a real girl when she inherited the maiden powers, the culmination of her arc about her humanity that started way back when she was revealed as a robot in Volume 2. This was taken even further, though it was inherently unnecessary. When she was made into a human being, she had gotten a new lease on life, defied death twice so far, once back at Beacon and again when the virus terminated her old body, and she was poised to finally be happy and free and have a lifetime's worth of firsts, experiences she could have had for the first time, with love and trust from her friends. She had so much potential to go on and do so much. And then they killed her. Why? Why would you do this to her? Why would you bring back a character twice, only to kill them off 3 times? What was the point of spending a majority of this volume trying to find a way for Penny not to be terminated? What was the point in having RWBY say this line of,
"An exact copy of her without the virus would cease to exist the second you make something else. And we kind of want to keep her around longer than that."
what was the point in having her become the Winter Maiden in the first place, if you were just going to kill her off to give it to Winter like it was originally supposed to be? She was already more than a robot and she had a soul and an aura. She didn't need to become the Winter Maiden to verify her humanity, nor did she need to become human to do that either. Most of all, why would you have her advocate for her suicide? She finally escaped a toxic place in her life where she was seen as something to be under control, and she finally got what she always wanted, becoming a real girl, and gained friends she always dreamed of. And then you kill her off? Why? What's the purpose of having a character finally achieve happiness only to die soon after? Why would you cut her arc short like that? Were you trying to recapture Volume 3's shock factor? Volume 3 worked because there was build up to it that didn't undermine all that came before it. When you spend 2 volumes talking about Penny's humanity and choices and personhood, only to invalidate all of that by killing her right after she attains conventional personhood and humanity, you just undid everything you laid the groundwork for. You rendered it null and void. It was pointless. You wasted our time. You made suicide to be the solution to abuse, and then you presented it as a heroic choice and a good decision. How many times did the characters refuse to let Penny consider giving herself up, of essentially committing suicide, because she deserved to live and was more than just a pawn or tool to be sacrificed and used? Why would they have it so that half their reason for using the staff and damning Atlas to fall onto Mantle was to save Penny? Why would Penny advocate for her own murder instead of even considering letting John heal her? And why would they make it so that John has to be the one to murder her? If Penny was so intent on killing herself, why not manifest a sword using her maiden magic and impale herself? Why do we have to give John more angst revolving around a redhead? Pierre's death wasn't enough, now he has to have a pivotal hand in Penny's death too? So now not only is John traumatized, and there's no doubt going to be those who centers Penny's death around John's trauma of having to murder her, instead of actually focusing on the person who died, but Jean had just gotten over Pierre's death and learned to accept it and stop being so angry and sullen and bitter all the time about it. He was in a good place. He was a better character for it. And now they've just heaped angst on top of him and had him be responsible for another fan favorite character's death. Why? If Penny absolutely had to be killed off in an assisted suicide scene, why couldn't it have been Nora who helped her, using one of Penny's swords or something? You know, Nora, the one who spent way more time and had meaningful character interaction with Penny all volume long, the one who kept reassuring her that the virus is only a part of her, to not forget about the rest. Nora, who built a rapport with Penny and literally electrocuted herself to a degree she couldn't handle, permanently scarring herself to help her friends go save Penny? Why did it have to be John? I don't think we saw Nora enter the portals at all. It happened off screen, so why couldn't John take over priority 1 in evacuating everyone and Nora assist Penny in the fight and her death? Now we're going to have to sit through so much John angst, and though they've been much better about it since Volume 6, I wouldn't put it past them to focus on John's trauma to the detriment of developing the titular cast yet again. Also, why couldn't you show Penny's corpse the way you could for Clover? You had zero problem with graphically killing off Clover for shock value, which was immensely gross due to his being queer-coded due to your queerbaiting, and then you went on to show his corpse in the very first episode of this volume. Why are Penny's body and face too good to show after her death? Why can you be so graphic for Clover, but off-screen Penny's murder, and imply it, rather than showing it? It was implied. It's not like you haven't set a precedent with Clover regarding gore in this show. Also, Jean's sword was reforged with metal from Pierre's armors or weapon, so technically, Pierre killed Penny for a second time. Also, the couple that kills together stays together, except I suppose not since Pierre's already dead. Jean's scream was exquisite though. Good job, Miles, on the voice acting at least. You've come a long way from...
What about monsters?
This entire scene hurt me in the feels. That was Penny's final salutations. We'll never hear it again. Why is Winter in her outfit for the previous volume? I much prefer it to her current one for volume 8, but why is it here? Is it because that's the last outfit Penny saw her in? Is this realm solely created around Penny's thoughts and feelings, and Winter is just invited into it as the next maiden? Why didn't we see this scene in volume 7 when Freya transferred the Winter Maiden powers to Penny? Winter recognizing that Penny's thinking of her implies that Penny has died was heartbreaking. The animation and facial expressions in this scene are gorgeous. Penny better appear to Winter as a force ghost or some other apparition, because I refuse to acknowledge her permanent death. I don't have a problem with Winter being the Winter Maiden. I just have a problem with how she acquired the powers, and the fact that Penny had to kill herself to gift them to her. How does Ironwood know that Winter's destiny has arrived? And then why does he look shocked when she actually manifests the Winter Maiden powers that he apparently had precognition to recognize, to notice before it manifested? Why would a block of ice reflect an attack? Why wouldn't it just destroy the ice? It's capable of obliterating hard light dust. Why is ice immune to it? Ironwood took a direct hit here, but later we see he's still alive. Why? Does the gun not kill you if you still got your aura? Did Jacques not know how to activate his aura? Why did he get obliterated, but Ironwood did not? And why can a shield and hard light dust block literal actual magic? But the laser from a stupid gun is capable of obliterating past hard light, but not a slab of ice? Jean's tears though. Cinder just broke Jean's family heirloom Crocea Moors that was fortified with Pierre's armor or weapons. What is he going to do now? How is he going to rebuild it? Winter's aura was broken. How is she still using her glyph semblance? Did the maiden powers replenish her aura or something? Why wouldn't you say that? Why can't you explain that through exposition or something? Cinder and Winter flying at each other over and over isn't a fight. Did Jean have precognition? How did he know Cinder's sneak attack from behind was coming? Why did Jean roll over while Weiss was sent flying? Shouldn't they both have been sent flying into the void at that point? Or turned over if you're intent on having Jean turn over? And shouldn't Weiss have graphic, horrific third-degree burns given that her aura had broken earlier and she just took an explosion at point-blank range, the kind of explosion that was enough to break Amber's aura back in Volume 3? That was really good voice acting from Elizabeth Maxwell right there. Why didn't she use her glyphs to prevent Weiss from falling? We know the Shnee's range for their semblance is ridiculously huge, and Weiss previously showed she can anchor herself in mid-air to stop a fall. Why would Winter just reach out her hand instead of actually using her semblance that she somehow was able to use after her aura was broken by Ironwood? Why do we keep seeing droplets happen in groups of 3? Jean's tears, Penny's blood from his blade, Winter's tears. Is that an engine limitation? 3 drops at a time? Why wouldn't Winter pick up Jean? Why would she just leave him to run when he literally said we need to go, not you need to go? So Cinder used the Staff of Creation to create something, given that it's glowing, which is why the previous creation of the portals and pathways disappear. What would she have done if the portals disappeared instantly, trapping her in that dimension? I suppose she could use the staff to create a new portal, so that's a moot point, unless Ambrosius would demand a schematic or something, in which case she'd be screwed. Speaking of, why don't we see her talk to Ambrosius? Is this how it looks like to everyone else who isn't using the staff? But still, he would at least appear to her and she'd have to ask him for something. She doesn't say a damn thing here. Why go against the rules you've established for how the relic works? Rules that were established literally 2 episodes ago. Also, why does Jin need to be summoned? Why does Jin need to be summoned by her name, but Ambrosius just shows up when you will him to? Again, why did it have to be Jean who fell? Why couldn't it have been Nora? The same Nora who this entire volume has lamented about not knowing who she was without Ren, who was adamant about finding herself apart from him, only for the volume to end with her by his side yet again. Had she been the one to fall instead of Jean, it would have given her time on her own to develop alongside Team RWBY, ensuring she got plenty of screen time since she'd be with the protagonists, while Jean would have been getting more screen time with Ren and developing the martial arts dynamic. Now all that development is going to go to Jean and likely focus on his trauma like we need a redux of volumes 3 to 6. We finally got to see those grim design for that contest, so that's nifty. I like that Cinder and Ironwood finally came face to face. After she's been manipulating and fucking with him since volume 2. To see her standing up on high while he's laid low on the ground, utterly defeated, that was nice to see. The villains finally got a major win for the first time since volume 3. That was fine. Was Salem capable of that smoke thing the entire time? Like, could she turn to smoke at any time she felt like it? Or is it something she can only do when reforming herself from being obliterated? Either Salem's an idiot or she doesn't believe Cinder, but doesn't think it's worth belaboring the point. There's no way a mastermind like Salem would fall for such obvious lies from a subordinate, known to and punished for going rogue and disobeying her in the past. So they killed off Watts too, and his death was just as inconsequential as Cinder said it would be. An unremarkable end. She really is the queen of petty, and if it weren't for how things went down regarding her unlearning her lesson, I would probably really like that. But as it stands, the way that Watts was killed off, I don't think I like it. I don't think I like it. Like, it's petty as fuck and I like that, but at the same time, going out that way is, ugh. That's the final word of the title, by the way. Checkmate. Where's all this water coming from? Aren't they surrounded by snow? Isn't the climate cold enough to turn water into snow? Where did this deluge come from? Did Salem use the staff to turn Atlas into Atlantis or something? If Watts and Ironwood weren't already dead, they're 99.9% likely to be now. That song is really hauntingly beautiful, and I recognized it as Penny's theme song, as well as the Nuts and Bolts song. It's hands down one of my top favorite songs in all of RWBY, right up there with Trust Love. I've been listening to it on repeat since Saturday. This episode made me cry. Largely for Penny. I spent that entire day crying, sometimes with grief, sometimes with rage, sometimes with fucking both. Volume 8's finale was abominable. It really undid what good the first half of the season hit out of the park, and the back half did its best to keep afloat. I understand that there's a pandemic, and that things were very different and harder this time around. I can excuse the quality of the fights because of it, and how we're constantly getting tiny skirmishes or cut away from fights entirely. But the core problem we keep coming back to is the writing. In The Butchering of Adam Torres video essay, I had a line where I said this. A lot of showrunners and story writers are of the notion that the highest, most important aspect of a show is to be its unpredictability. To generate controversy and invest in the shock factor to get people to talk about or stay engaged with the show, which is all manners of pathetic, by the way, but we can get into that another time. Let's get into it a little bit right now, actually. If you can't keep people interested in your show without having to pull out plot twists that make no sense, then your show's not worth having. I'm sad to say that this is exactly the type of bullshit I was talking about. This is the shocking, twisting, out of left field plot twist for the sake of shock value mentality that I'm talking about. What was the purpose of killing off Penny? Why would you bring her back just to kill her off 2 more times in the same volume? Why is she the only character to have been killed off 3 times so far? Why do you keep killing the same character over and over? What was the point of her arc about recognizing her emotions and her validity as a sentient being and her being more than just a robot, a being with a soul? What was the point in making her the Winter Maiden if you're going to give the power to Winter all along? What was the point of this entire volume, where half of it was dedicated to Penny's agency being revoked due to being hacked, and the cast jumping through so many hoops to make sure she'd live through her virus and self-termination, only to kill her? What was the point of her advocating for her own death? What was the point of Ironwood's bastardization? What was the point of introducing Salem as a big bad if she didn't even do anything major in the last handful of episodes of this volume? What was the point of Harriet being a fucking demon all volume long, only for her to get off scot-free after advocating and actively working towards the genocide of a people? What was the point of building up Crow versus Ironwood if they never so much as shared the same room together? What was the point of building up Crow versus Harriet if they don't fight? What was the point of Winter denouncing Ironwood and acting like he's always been evil when you went out of your way earlier to show us his many moments of kindness and compassion and goodness? Why couldn't Penny have cried about not wanting to die, about wanting to live and experience so much more, about how she was just at the beginning of her life? Why couldn't Penny have said she was scared? Why would you set her up as finally having a happy ending or the start of a happy beginning, only to cut that hope with her death? Why would you imply her death after killing her off screen when you're perfectly comfortable killing off Clover in a cruel, visceral manner? Why would you have Cinder betray Neo and Watts when she finally learned the power of friendship and applied it to the bad guy side? When she finally had allies who trusted her? When she was talking just an episode ago about how sometimes if you wanted to win, you just can't do it alone? Why would you have Cinder's character regress a single episode after she progressed? Why would you have Jean be the one to kill Penny instead of someone who's been close with her all volume like Nora? Why would you have Jean fall into the void along with Team RWBY when it could have been Nora who spent time with them and developed her own character away from Ren? Why would you develop characters only to undevelop them? Why would you undercut the entire meaning behind your own themes that you write into the story? Why would you give us absolutely zero catharsis this entire volume? Why would you waste our time? Why? I've said my piece, though I'd rank this volume as perhaps the third best overall, and that's iffy at best. Behind volumes 3 and 7, the finale was absolute garbage. It made me question why I bother with this show when all it does is hurt me and defy my expectations that they led me to believe in. What was the point of Adam's entire revolutionary character arc if he's going to be flanderized into an abuser? What was the point of Queer Code and Clover and building him up with Crow as a perfect complement only to kill him and then talk shit about him all next volume? What was the point of upping Penny's agency and happiness and revolve her narrative arc around choice and identity, spending half the season finding a workaround for her dying body only to kill her off 2 episodes later? It feels like this show is pointless. It feels like the writers never learn. And it feels like I never do either, because here I am, still caring about this stupid fucking show when all it does is hurt me. I'm angry. I'm upset. I want nothing more than to give up the show that means so much to me. But I don't learn my lessons. Fuck me. I was robbed of my time, my interest, my investment in this show. I don't know if I'm going to be making other reviews after this. Either way, I've said my piece. Here's my final word. Fuck.